Hi, good afternoon. Before we start our natural soap making workshop, in fact, we will be making natural sanitizing or germicidal bar today. So first is I'd like to teach you how you will create your own formulary when we talk about soap making. It's actually pretty easy. All you have to do is to use a soap like calculator, and we have that free online. So the first thing what we will do is we open another browser and type in soap calc. As you can see, it's already there, and enter. There, you will be brought into the soapcalc.net website, and here you'll see all these information that you probably would need later on. But we will talk about the soap lie calculator first. Let's go to recipe calculator. So right now I'm trying to teach you how to go over or how to use a soap like calculator so that you could use this tool for you to be able to create your own soap formulary. Okay, so let's continue. So the first thing that we need to be prepared of, or before we start our light calculator, of course, you should be identifying the oils that you will be using for your soap today. So as we all know, there are three main ingredients that we use in soap making. Number one, we use a liquid, which could be any type of liquid for as long as we could dissolve our lye crystals in that liquid. So we could use distilled water, spring water, deionized water, except normal tap water. Okay, so we could also use decoction. All right, like guava decoction, mangosteen decoction. You may also use any type of herbal teas for your liquid. You may also use puree for as long as if it's really liquid or liquid enough to be able to dissolve your light crystals into it. You may also use any hydrosols. So what I'm saying is we are not limited to just using plain water as our liquid in soap making. There are a lot of options that you could use with soap making. Next, we have the liquid, and then we need oils. Yes, soap making needs carrier oils. You may use a lot of kinds, a lot of types of oils in soap making, from coconut oil to castor oil to palm oil to sweet almond, rosehip oil, name it. Name all those lovely, super moisturizing oils. You may use that in soap making for as long as you have a soap lye calculator to use. Okay, will be easier for you to create your own formula. Next, lye. I've been mentioning, the reason why we have this calculator is actually for us to have a very easy way of calculating for how much lye will be required to process a particular oil into a soap. All right. That's why it's called soap lye calculator. It's actually the amount of lye required that we will be calculating in this soapcalc.net formulary. So let's go back. Let's say we already have an oil in mind. For today, for this particular workshop, we will be using only one type of oil. We'll be using coconut oil, 76 degrees. Let's go ahead and continue. Let's click on recipe calculator. Then you'll be brought here. We've got NaOH or KOH for liquid soap making, but let's go back to NaOH. That's another name for sodium hydroxide, or lye, or caustic soda. Now, caustic soda has two types. You've got caustic soda flakes and caustic soda pearls. All right, next is item number 2, the weight of the oils. Now, in soap making, when I say batch, I'm talking about the amount of oils. Batch is equal to the total amount of oils that you will use in soap making. So batch is equal to oils. And here today we will be using grams. So we'll start as soon as you click on grams, automatically, let's go back here, pounds, ounces, grams. As soon as you hit grams, automatically you'll be brought to 500 grams. But guys, you're allowed to change this depending on how much batch you are going to make. So for a start, if you are creating something small because you're still trying and making a sample batch, of course you could use either 300 or 500 or even 1000 depending on your container, the soap mold that you will be using. So let's say we will be using a 500-gram batch for your particular container. Okay, you have an improvised container and you will be using 500-gram batch. All right, so the batch is the oils, and that is being decided depending on the capacity of your soap mold. Okay, now let's go to water as percent of oils. Automatically, it's on the maximum amount, which is 38%. So that you could also dictate. You're the one who's going to dictate on how much water as percent of oils, how much water as percent of oils you will be using. And we're allowed to use starting from 25% to up to 28%, or to 38%. All right. So let's say for this particular workshop, we will be using 28%. You know, the percentage of the water that you will decide to use on your soap um, will actually dictate how long is the curing time of your soap. The more water you'll be using in your soap making, the longer the curing time will be. All right. So the liquid or the water is only required as a solvent. All right. It'll actually it'll actually evaporate during the curing process of your soap. So let's say we will be using 28%. That's my decision. I'd like to use 28%. All right. Now let's don't mind about the rest. Okay, don't mind that. We will only concentrate on water as percent of oils. Again, we'll type in 28%. And then let's go to item number 4. We have super fat. When you say super fat, this is extra emollient oils, extra emollient properties that you would like to give to your soap. This is extra oil that will not be processed by your lye to give extra emollient properties to your soap, to the product, to the soap that you will be making. So let's say because we're using, as I said, we will only be using one type of oil, and that is coconut oil. And for your information, coconut oil, when you use it in soap making for more than 30%, it'll dry your skin. So we will try to create a balance. So instead of using only 5%, usually soap makers would use 5 to 6% to 7%, depending on the combination or blended oils. But because we will be using 100% of coconut oil today, I'd like to recommend using it at very high superfat, 19%. See, we will be using 19% for your soap today. All right, so that we will balance the effect of, the drying effect of using 100% coconut oil in the formula. All right. Fragrance. In fragrance, we're allowed to use, of course, from 0% if you want to create a hypoallergenic soap. 0% being unscented to up to 10%. It depends on the recommendation of your supplier up to how much a particular fragrance or essential oils may be used in soap making. So those informations we're getting that from our supplier. So let's say I will be using only like 2%. So that will be 2%. It says here how much gram per kilogram. So in 1 kilogram, we have 1,000 grams in weight, right? So if I will be using 2% per kilogram, so I will be calculating 2% of 1,000 grams, which is 1,000 times 2% will give me 20. So I will just type in 20 here if I'll be using 2% per kilogram batch. If you will be using 3% per kilogram batch, then you will be typing 30 grams and the rest will follow. The calculator will calculate for you. All right? Okay, to continue on item number 5, don't worry about that because the calculator will give all those informations for you. That means once you have calculated everything, you will know how hard your soap is going to be, the cleansing properties of it, conditioning properties, and so on. So let's not mind this item number 5 yet, and we'll just take a look on that later. Now here are the list of oils that you may use for your calculation of your soap. These are the list of oils that you may use for your soap. So you've got endless list here. But for today, because as I said, we will be using only one particular oil, and that is, let's go to item or letter C. Let's go to, you've got coconut oil 76 degrees here, coconut oil 92 degrees here, and coconut oil fractionated. No matter what type of oil you will be purchasing from the shops or your suppliers, it'll always be 76 degrees. This is the 76 degrees is the what you call the melting point. All right. Let's double click and you will have that here on item number 6. All right, if you create a mistake, you can easily just do this there and then you can do it again. Click and click on add. That'll also do it, or double click. There you go. And you're the one who's going to supply for how much percentage you would like this oil for your soap making today. But since we will be using this at 100%, let's type in 100. Now, if you decided to use this at 70%, just type in 70 and let's try if 70 will be sufficient. Calculate the recipe and the calculator will tell you that you need to adjust by adding 30% more because it's not going to continue if it's not 100% of the oil. Okay, so let's continue. Supposing we will be using 70% and then you would like to add a really nice uh, lovely or bubbly oil to help coconut oil with lather. You may use castor oil, let's say castor oil, double click and use it at 30%. There you go. And calculate. It'll come through because calculate. Okay, there's something wrong here. The calculator is not doing it. Okay, there you go. We have coconut oil here. To calculate, you click and calculate and click on view or print the recipe and another window will come up and you will have your recipe right before your eyes for your use in your soap making today. So let's go back here first. Okay, again, I just went back to the website originally. So as you can see here, we've got only one oil used today and it's 100% of the batch, which is 500 grams. We clicked on calculate recipe. That's why we're able to get this and clicked on view or print the recipe, which is this one, once again, you could either print the recipe if you want direct or copy paste. You may copy paste up to here and then paste it onto your Word file so that you could have it on record. Okay. So of course it's up to you to give the name, but of course we will be making natural sanitizing bar, soap bar, or natural germicidal bar. So we've got 500-gram batch, which is equal to our oils, right? So we've got 500-gram total of the oils that we will be using for today. And you've got the lye here. This was calculated based on the oil that you use in the formula. So if you happen to replace the oils, let's go back here. All right. So if you want to change the oils, you would like to use this at probably 50%. And then let's try castor oil at maybe around 20%. We still have 30% to use. You probably want to use palm oil. Let's say palm oil here, 30%. And then of course, because we have a lesser amount of coconut oil, we could dictate a different superfat here, probably around 10, and then calculate once again before you hit view or print the recipe so that your formulary here will not be deleted. You will have to click on multiple tabs, then view or print the recipe, and you will have another formulary right before your eyes. There. So you've got your three oils now. Coconut oil 50%, castor oil 20%, palm oil at 30%, and you've got your lye here is here. Let's go to you always check the gram amount. 71.94. Let's check the other one. It's 74.21. See the difference in the lye amount? This requires lesser amount of lye to use compared to higher amount of lye to use so that your syrup will be processed. I mean, your oils combined, blended with our lye and a little bit of water. The water is here now. Let's go back to the original formulary. Your water is now calculated based on 28%, which is 140. If you multiply 28% to 500 grams of oil, you will get 140 as your product or as your amount to weigh for your water. So now we're able to get how much water we require for our soap making, 140 grams. How much lye we need it for us to be able to create a soap out of 100% coconut oil, which is 74.21. And how much oil, of course, is 500 grams, being 100% of our batch equals our oils equals our coconut oil. Now, with that particular oils, here are the ranges given to you by the recipe itself. So it says based on hardness, the range should be 29 to 54, but we got in 79. Don't worry about those digits or values because once you try this formulary, you'll find this very moisturizing, despite the fact that it says on the soapcal.net that it's going to give you 79 hardness. So that means the cleansing ability will give you 67 in numbers, which means that's way above the range for cleansing. That means it's supposed to be very drying to the skin. But because we super fat high, we are um, giving it more, we have lessened the amount of lye that is supposed to be used in order to create the soap in the very first place. So this is not going to be drying to the skin because we we have given 19% of extra emollient properties. We super fat, or we deduct a percentage of 19% of lye amount to the formula so that it will not be so drying to the skin. So that's about it. That's how you use our soapcalc.net for you to be able to create your own formulary and be able to identify how much water, how much lye we're supposed to use in order to create a soap out of 100% coconut oil. So remember, in a ready formulary, you cannot replace um, your oils once you're starting the soap making unless you go back to soapcalc.net to recalculate for your lye. Why? Every time you replace an oil in the formula, there will be changes in the amount of lye that you will need in order for you to create a soap out of those oils because they are dependent of each other. All right, so again, for the notes and additives, it will be you who's going to supply all these information. In case you would like to add extra ingredients like actives and extracts, like if you would like to add carrot extracts in the formula, you will have to write them here for repetition of your formulary or your product. So those things I'll teach you during our natural soap making course workshop. So thank you so much. This is Liz Draken of Organic Artisan Lab Corporation. I'll see you on our workshop. Thank you. Bye.